Hi, I'm Dr. Kendi Berry, and today I want to talk about something that might surprise you: fiber in the carnivore diet. Yes, you heard that right. Fiber, the nutrient most people think comes only from plants, may actually have a hidden role even if your diet is exclusively animal-based. But here's the problem: when people switch to a strict carnivore diet, many are concerned about gut health. They worry about constipation, irregular bowel movements, and the overall health of their microbiome. Traditional dietary advice has drilled into us that fiber is the only fuel for healthy gut bacteria. So naturally, when someone stops eating vegetables, they fear their gut bacteria will starve, their digestion will suffer, and long-term health problems may arise. So the real question is, how can someone thrive on a carnivore diet while still nourishing their gut bacteria? Is it possible that meat, the very thing people think contains no fiber, could actually provide a hidden source of nutrition for our microbiome? That's exactly what we're going to uncover today. When people think about fiber, they usually picture vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains. And while those are indeed fiber-rich foods, fiber isn't the only way to feed your gut bacteria. Your gut microbiome is far more adaptable than many realize. There's a fascinating type of fiber, like nutrition, that can come from animal foods, often overlooked, called fermentable substrates or prebiotic compounds. These are compounds in meat, particularly in organ meats, connective tissue, and even fatty cuts that certain gut bacteria can ferment. When bacteria ferment these substrates, they produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that are crucial for intestinal health, metabolic regulation, and even immune function. In other words, your gut bacteria are not necessarily starving on a carnivore diet. They're just eating a different type of fiber than what you learned in school. Let's talk about where this hidden fiber actually comes from. First, there's collagen and connective tissue. When you eat meat, especially cuts with tendons, skin, and joints, you're consuming collagen, glycosaminoglycans, and other complex proteins. These aren't digested completely in your small intestine, which is why they reach your colon intact. In the colon, certain bacteria ferment these compounds, turning them into the short-chain fatty acids I just mentioned. This is a form of indirect fiber. It's not plant-based, but it functions similarly in promoting bacterial growth and feeding your microbiome. In addition, bone marrow contains lipids that are partially fermented by gut bacteria supporting microbial diversity. Even egg yolks, while low in carbohydrate fiber, have phospholipids and choline that nourish specific beneficial bacterial populations. So the idea that a carnivore diet starves your gut is a myth. Your bacteria are simply adapting to the different fuel source that meat provides. Another factor people often overlook is the role of bile acids and fat in shaping gut health. A high-fat animal-based diet stimulates bile production. Certain gut bacteria thrive in bile-rich environments and can metabolize compounds in meat that other bacteria cannot. This creates a unique ecosystem in your gut, one that differs from a plant-based diet, but can be equally healthy if balanced correctly. Some studies have shown that people on carnivore or keto carnivore diets have different microbial profiles, not worse ones, just different ones. And these differences often favor bacteria that reduce inflammation, support fat metabolism, and produce those all-important short-chain fatty acids. So even though it doesn't look like your gut bacteria are eating fiber in the traditional sense, they are metabolizing complex compounds in meat that serve the same purpose in maintaining gut health. Then there's the issue of constipation, which is a common concern for new carnivore dieters. Many people assume that without fiber from plants, they will inevitably become constipated. But here's the nuance. Bowel regularity is influenced not just by insoluble fiber, but also by hydration, electrolytes, fat intake, and the presence of those fermentable animal substrates. People who focus on eating fatty cuts of meat, organ meats, and even incorporating bone broths often find that their digestion improves over time and stool consistency becomes more regular. That's because their gut bacteria are producing short-chain fatty acids, which help regulate intestinal motility and create a favorable environment for healthy bowel movements. In other words, fiber isn't disappearing on a carnivore diet. It's just coming in a different form that many people don't recognize. What's really exciting is that this opens the door to a new understanding of nutrition. Fiber doesn't have to be plant-based to support gut health. When you consume a variety of meats, particularly nutrient-dense cuts like organ meats, marrow, bones, and connective tissue, you're feeding your microbiome in ways that science is only beginning to fully appreciate. This means the carnivore diet, when done correctly, is not gut starving, it's gut transforming. Your microbiome shifts, adapts, and thrives on these animal-based prebiotics. The key is variety and nutrient density. Leaning exclusively on muscle meat alone might not provide enough of these fermentable compounds, but a diverse carnivore diet does. So now you're probably wondering, how do I make sure I'm giving my gut the right hidden fiber while staying carnivore? That's exactly what we're going to explore next. We'll break down which meats are most beneficial, how cooking methods affect the availability of these compounds, and practical ways to structure a carnivore diet that truly supports gut health. It's not just about eating more meat. It's about eating the right types in the right combinations to nourish both you and your microbiome. This next section will show you how to unlock the hidden fiber in your diet and why it's critical for long-term gut function, energy, and even immune resilience. Now that we understand that fiber doesn't have to be plant-based, the next question is, which animal foods are the most effective at nourishing your gut bacteria? It turns out, not all meats are created equal. Muscle meat, like steak, chicken breast, or ground beef, provides plenty of protein and essential amino acids, but it's relatively low in the compounds that feed gut bacteria. If your carnivore diet is mostly lean cuts, you may be getting excellent protein, but limited fermentable substrates. That's where organ meats, connective tissue, marrow, and even certain egg preparations come into play. These foods are packed with complex compounds, collagen, elastin, glycosaminoglycans, phospholipids, and choline that reach the colon intact and act as prebiotics for beneficial bacteria. Let's start with organ meats because they're nutritional powerhouses. Liver, kidney, heart, and spleen contain not only vitamins and minerals, but also compounds that resist digestion in the small intestine. When these reach your colon, specific bacterial populations metabolize them into short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, and propionate. Butyrate in particular is essential for gut lining integrity and anti-inflammatory effects. Think of these organ-derived compounds as a type of meat fiber. They're feeding bacteria in ways that vegetables would in a plant-based diet, just through an entirely different mechanism. The diversity of organ meats you include can dramatically influence the diversity of your gut microbiome. Eating only one type of organ, like liver, is better than none, but rotating between liver, heart, kidney, and others provides a broader range of microbial substrates. Connective tissue is another hidden gem. Tendons, ligaments, and skin are rich in collagen and elastin. When you cook them slowly, as in a bone broth or stew, they partially break down into gelatin and amino acids, some of which are fermented by bacteria in the colon. Bone broth, in particular, is a concentrated source of these compounds. Even though it's liquid, it contains soluble and partially soluble collagen peptides, glucosamine, and other nitrogen-containing compounds that feed microbes. People often overlook this because it's not bulky or fibrous in the traditional sense, but the impact on gut health can be profound. Regularly consuming bone broth or gelatin-rich cuts supports not only the microbiome, but also joint health, skin, and connective tissues, truly a holistic approach. Fat also plays a role, albeit indirectly. Fatty cuts like ribeye, pork belly, or fatty lamb provide lipids that influence bile secretion, which shapes the microbial environment. Certain bacteria thrive in bile-rich conditions and metabolize lipids into beneficial compounds that help maintain intestinal barrier integrity. Additionally, egg yolks are a surprisingly good source of microbial nutrition. Phospholipids, choline, and lecithin in egg yolks selectively feed beneficial bacteria that support liver and brain health. So, incorporating eggs with yolks intact isn't just about protein, it's about nurturing specific gut microbes that thrive on these unique compounds. Cooking methods matter too. Slow cooking, braising, and simmering preserve the integrity of collagen and connective tissue, while high heat methods like grilling or frying can denature some of these compounds. This doesn't mean you must only eat slow cooked foods. But balancing preparation methods ensures you maximize the availability of fermentable compounds. Raw or lightly cooked organ meats, when handled safely, may also retain more bioactive nutrients, which can further support gut microbial diversity. It's a balance between safety, palatability, and nutrient preservation. Variety is another crucial factor. A diet consisting solely of one type of muscle meat might not provide enough of these hidden fibers, but rotating different cuts, organs, and preparation methods dramatically increases the types of fermentable compounds your bacteria can use. This diversity translates into a healthier, more resilient microbiome. People often assume that the carnivore diet is boring or one-dimensional, but it can be surprisingly varied if you focus on nutrient-dense cuts and different animal sources. Think beef, lamb, pork, chicken, eggs, fish, and organ meats. Each offers unique substrates for your gut bacteria. Now, you might be wondering about gut symptoms during the transition. Some people experience temporary changes in bowel habits when switching to carnivore. This is usually not a sign of damage, but a reflection of the microbiome adapting to new fuel sources. As your gut bacteria shift to fermenting collagen fat and phospholipids, you may notice changes in stool consistency, frequency, or odor. These adjustments typically normalize over a few weeks, especially if you focus on nutrient-dense organ meats, fatty cuts, and bone broth. Hydration and electrolytes are also critical here, as they support smooth digestion and help prevent constipation or other digestive discomforts. One of the most exciting aspects of this hidden fiber concept is that it reshapes our understanding of gut health. We often hear that fiber is the only thing bacteria can eat, but the reality is more nuanced. Our microbiome has evolved to metabolize a wide variety of compounds, including those found exclusively in animal foods. This means the carnivore diet, when strategically planned, can support a thriving microbial community, potentially even one that reduces inflammation, improves metabolism, and promotes overall gut integrity. The key takeaway here is that fiber isn't disappearing, it's just changing form, and the bacteria in your gut are remarkably flexible, capable of adapting to this new source of nourishment. This brings us naturally to the next important topic: how to practically implement these concepts in a real-world carnivore diet. What portion of your diet should come from organ meats, fatty cuts, or bone broth? How do you balance different animal sources to maximize gut microbial diversity? And what are the subtle signs that your microbiome is thriving versus struggling? Understanding these practical strategies is essential for anyone who wants to maintain gut health while enjoying the benefits of a meat-based diet. It's not just theory. These are actionable steps that can transform digestion, energy levels, and overall well-being. Now that we've covered which animal foods provide this hidden fiber, let's talk about how to put it all together in a practical, real-world carnivore diet. Knowing that organ meats, connective tissue, fatty cuts, and eggs feed your microbiome is one thing, but understanding how much to eat, how to combine foods, and how to structure meals is where most people get stuck. The goal is not just survival on a carnivore diet, but thriving, optimizing digestion, energy, and microbial diversity. First, portion strategies matter more than you might think. A typical approach is to make muscle meat the foundation of every meal, but you don't want it to be the only element. Muscle meat provides essential amino acids and micronutrients, but the hidden fiber that supports your gut comes primarily from organ meats, connective tissue, and marrow. A simple rule of thumb is to aim for about 10-20% of your total meat intake from organ meats. Liver is a classic choice because it's nutrient-dense and highly bioavailable, but rotating in heart, kidney, or spleen can give your gut a variety of substrates. Variety ensures that multiple bacterial populations are nourished, which is crucial for long-term gut resilience. Connective tissue, whether in the form of tendons, skin, on cuts, or slow-cooked joints, should also be included regularly. Bone in cuts or homemade bone broths are perfect ways to integrate collagen into your diet without drastically increasing calories or meal prep complexity. Many people underestimate the impact of these gelatin-rich foods. They're not just good for joints and skin, but are a vital source of fermentable compounds for gut bacteria. Ideally, include some form of connective tissue or gelatin in at least one meal per day. Even small amounts make a significant difference over time. Fat is another critical piece of the puzzle. Your gut bacteria thrive on a high-fat environment, so fatty cuts like ribeye, pork belly, lamb shoulder, or salmon are more than just energy sources. They actively shape your microbial environment. Fat also helps with digestion by stimulating bile production, which supports the bacteria that metabolize fats and fat-soluble nutrients. If you find yourself on a very lean carnivore diet, consider adding fatty cuts strategically or incorporating tallow, ghee, or marrow to ensure your microbiome has the fuel it needs. Eggs deserve special attention because they provide phospholipids, choline, and lecithin, compounds that feed beneficial bacteria while supporting liver function and brain health. Eating whole eggs rather than just egg whites ensures you're getting these nutrients. Including eggs in combination with organ meats or fatty cuts can create synergistic effects, boosting microbial diversity and supporting optimal nutrient absorption. Even small additions, like 1 or 2 whole eggs per day, can make a meaningful difference in your gut health. Meal timing and frequency can also influence microbial activity. While carnivore diets are often associated with intermittent fasting or fewer meals per day, consistency is key. Your gut bacteria thrive on predictable patterns, and spacing meals in a way that allows for proper digestion and bile cycling can improve both microbiome function and nutrient absorption. For example, having a nutrient-dense breakfast with eggs and organ meat, a midday meal with muscle meat and fatty cuts, and a light evening bone broth or slow cooked stew can create a rhythm that supports microbial balance while keeping you satiated and energized. Hydration and electrolytes are often overlooked but are equally essential for gut function. High protein, high fat diets require more water for digestion, and electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium support smooth bowel movements and overall digestive efficiency. People new to carnivore diets sometimes experience temporary constipation, not because their microbiome is starving, but because they're not properly hydrated or not getting enough electrolytes. Adding bone broth, drinking adequate water, and using mineral-rich salts can prevent this common issue while also enhancing nutrient absorption. Another practical consideration is how cooking methods affect microbial substrates. Slow cooking and braising preserve collagen and connective tissue, while roasting or high heat grilling can denature some compounds. Using a combination of cooking methods, raw, lightly cooked, slow cooked, and broiled, can maximize nutrient availability and provide your gut bacteria with a broader range of substrates. For those concerned about safety, organ meats can be lightly seared or poached to preserve nutrients while reducing risk. Bone broths and stews are particularly effective because they extract both minerals and collagen from bones and connective tissue, concentrating hidden fibers that feed your microbiome. It's also important to recognize that your microbiome may initially respond with temporary changes in digestion when you start a carnivore diet or increase organ and connective tissue intake. Some people notice looser stools or changes in frequency, which is usually a normal adaptation. The microbiome is dynamic, and these early changes often normalize within a few weeks as bacteria adjust to the new fuel sources. Paying attention to your body's signals, stool consistency, energy levels, and digestive comfort can help you fine-tune portions, fat content, and meal structure to optimize gut health. Finally, diversity within a carnivore diet is key. Relying solely on one type of animal, like beef, may not provide the range of substrates your microbiome needs. Rotating beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fish, and organ meats creates a broader nutrient spectrum and promotes microbial diversity. Including seafood like salmon, sardines, or shellfish not only adds omega-3 fatty acids, but also unique phospholipids and micronutrients that feed different bacterial species. Think of your microbiome as an ecosystem. Just like any ecosystem, diversity ensures resilience, stability, and optimal function. By strategically incorporating organ meats, connective tissue, fatty cuts, eggs, and bone broths while considering meal timing, hydration, and cooking methods, you can design a carnivore diet that supports not just human health, but also a thriving, adaptable gut microbiome. You're not sacrificing gut health by avoiding plants. You're simply feeding your bacteria differently. Understanding these practical strategies transforms the carnivore diet from a controversial plant-free regimen into a well-planned, microbiome supportive lifestyle that maximizes digestion, energy, and overall well-being. Now that we've covered practical implementation, it's time to address some common pitfalls and challenges people face when trying to optimize their gut health on a carnivore diet. Even with organ meats, fatty cuts, and bone broths, mistakes in portioning, variety, hydration, or meal structure can prevent your microbiome from thriving. The good news is that most issues are easy to correct once you understand the underlying mechanisms. One of the most common pitfalls is relying too heavily on lean muscle meat alone. While it's excellent for protein, muscle meat lacks the fermentable compounds that feed gut bacteria. People who eat primarily steak or chicken breast may notice constipation, low energy, or decreased microbial diversity. The solution is simple: add nutrient-dense organ meats, collagen-rich cuts, and bone broth to your weekly rotation. Even small daily portions, like a few ounces of liver or a cup of homemade bone broth, can dramatically improve digestion and microbial activity over time. Another issue arises when there's insufficient fat intake. Fat is not only a primary energy source, but also crucial for bile production, which supports the bacteria that metabolize fats and fat-soluble nutrients. Without enough dietary fat, digestion can slow, stool may harden, and your gut bacteria may not receive the environment they need to thrive. Incorporating fatty cuts like ribeye, pork belly, or salmon, and including marrow or tallow when needed, ensures both energy sufficiency and microbial support. Remember, fat is not your enemy. It's a tool to optimize digestion and gut health on a carnivore diet. Hydration and electrolytes are often underestimated in their impact on gut function. A high-protein, high-fat diet increases water requirements, and inadequate hydration can lead to constipation or discomfort. Electrolytes, particularly sodium, potassium, and magnesium, help maintain proper intestinal motility and nutrient absorption. Drinking water consistently throughout the day, using bone broth, and seasoning meals with mineral-rich salts are simple but effective strategies to keep digestion smooth and prevent microbial stress. People also sometimes make the mistake of neglecting diversity. A diet consisting only of one type of meat may support survival, but not optimal microbial diversity. Your microbiome functions like an ecosystem. The more diverse the inputs, the stronger and more resilient the system becomes. Rotating between beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fish, and organ meats introduces different types of fermentable compounds, amino acids, and fatty acids, encouraging a diverse microbial community. Even small variations like including shellfish once or twice a week or switching between liver, kidney, and heart can have a profound impact on gut health and long-term metabolic function. Timing and preparation methods are additional areas that can make a difference. Slow cook meals, stews, and bone broth preserve collagen and connective tissue, while high heat cooking can denature some beneficial compounds. Including a mix of cooking methods maximizes nutrient availability and ensures your gut bacteria have access to a broad spectrum of substrates. For those concerned about safety or palatability, lightly seared organ meats or poached eggs are excellent ways to preserve bioactive compounds while making meals enjoyable. It's also worth addressing transitional symptoms. When people first shift to a carnivore diet or increase their intake of hidden fibers like collagen and organ meats, they may experience temporary changes in digestion, such as softer or more frequent stools. These changes usually reflect the microbiome adapting to new fuel sources and should normalize over a few weeks. Tracking bowel habits, energy levels, and digestive comfort can guide adjustments in portioning, fat intake, or meal frequency to keep your gut running optimally. The long-term benefits of optimizing hidden fiber on a carnivore diet are profound. Supporting your microbiome with these unique animal-based substrates can improve bowel regularity, reduce inflammation, enhance nutrient absorption, and even support metabolic health. Studies suggest that short-chain fatty acids produced from fermentation of collagen, fat, and organ-derived compounds strengthen the gut lining, modulate the immune system, and help regulate blood sugar. Over time, a well-planned carnivore diet doesn't just maintain gut health, it can enhance it. Advanced strategies for maximizing hidden fiber include combining nutrient-dense organ meats with fatty cuts in every meal, incorporating bone broths regularly, and rotating between animal sources to feed a diverse microbial population. Paying attention to hydration, electrolytes, and gentle cooking methods further amplifies the benefits. Some enthusiasts also experiment with raw or lightly cooked organ meats to preserve bioactive compounds, though safety and individual tolerance should always guide these choices. The goal is to create a microbiome supportive carnivore diet that's diverse, nutrient-rich, and sustainable long-term. In the end, the idea that a carnivore diet starves your gut bacteria is simply a myth. By understanding the concept of hidden fiber in meat, leveraging organ meats, connective tissue, fatty cuts, and eggs, and thoughtfully planning meals, you can provide your gut with the fuel it needs to thrive. This isn't just theory, it's supported by both emerging science and practical experience. A properly executed carnivore diet can support digestion, energy, immunity, and overall health while keeping your microbiome healthy, diverse, and resilient. Ultimately, this hidden fiber approach transforms the way we think about nutrition. Fiber is no longer limited to plants, and gut health isn't sacrificed by removing vegetables. Instead, meat provides a unique and potent form of nourishment for your microbiome, proving that a carnivore diet, when thoughtfully implemented, is not only safe but potentially superior for certain aspects of gut health, inflammation control, and metabolic function. The full 4-segment script now comprehensively covers the hidden fiber concept, from the science and types of fermentable animal compounds to practical meal strategies, troubleshooting, and long-term benefits, smoothly transitioning through each part for an engaging educational health video. If you want, I can also polish the entire script into a flowing, ready-to-record video version with natural transitions and a more conversational on-camera style that mirrors Dr. Kendi Berry's delivery. This would make it perfect for YouTube or social media. Do you want me to do that?